So I was watching a trader today, and he was talking about what people think of themselves when it comes to certain things. And he used the example of driving. And if you ask the average individual, maybe 75% of people will say that they're good drivers. But when you go on the road with them, it's a whole nother story, right? And it's the same thing in life. A lot of people think, oh, I'm a good trader, I'm a good person, I'm a good blah, 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 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I can't say for everything, but I'm talking about more so with the driving thing. Is that a lot of people think, oh yeah, I'm a good, I'm a good driver and shit. But the funny thing about that is what he said. And after that, he said when the actual facts are, there's probably single digit numbers. I'm sorry, single digit percentage of how many good drivers are actually out there. So I'm talking about two things, and I'm going to combine it into one. The first thing, like I said, is how people think about themselves. They think about themselves really, high and all that. You know what I mean? When sometimes they're not all that. But I'm also talking about the driving thing because I am a driver myself, so I see a lot of driving shit on the road. You know what I mean? And the fact is that if if you don't get mad by the time you get on the road and within like a few minutes, then I don't even know if you really know what you're doing. Because I don't want to say you don't know what you're doing, but I'm saying like I can get on the road like as soon as I get in the car, maybe pull out of my driveway, and sure enough, within a minute, someone's done some dumbass shit. You know what I mean? And I can go down the street 3 or 4 times. Within 3 or 4 minutes, I'm already pissed. Like, what the freak? You know what I mean? And so that's driving though. You know what I mean? So, but I'm a professional driver. You know what I mean? Drive trucks and whatnot. So we actually know the rules of the road. You know what I mean? And especially like maybe you're going through a parking lot. This happens to me a lot. I see it happen to a lot of people. Is that people are flying through the parking lots, right? Right when you're going into a store and whatnot. And the thing is, the pedestrians have the right of way, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? But I mean, they're supposed to stop. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to fly through there. And see, that's what I'm saying is that people don't even know the rules of the road. That's just an example. You know what I mean? And then another one that people do, as you all know, is they don't use their turn signals. So they'll be slowing down and they don't have their turn signal on. It's like if you're gonna slow down, man, at least put your turn signal on. You know what I mean? And then another thing that I see people do a lot now is that they might turn the turn signal on, but they're turning it on at the last second. So they're turning it on and then they switch the lane. Like, motherfucker, you're supposed to. That's like no warning. You might as well not use your turn signal if you're gonna just turn your turn signal on and switch in the lane. Put your turn signal on to alert people ahead. I mean, I'm sorry, behind you. You know what I mean? What you're about to do. You're giving them warning though. You don't give them 1 second warning. You know what I mean? That's that don't does that make sense? Like let's think about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? You give them 1 second warning to no, I'm getting in your lane. No, you have your turn signal on. You let them know ahead of time. Like I'm talking about like 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds. You know what I mean? More the better to let people know. Hey, I'm getting over. You know what I mean? Or I'm trying to get over. You know what I mean? And you don't just jump into the lane. I know people are gonna argue in the comments and blah 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 blah, and that's fine. You know what I mean? But we all know. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, you can't argue with stupid. I'm not gonna get into all that. I'm not gonna argue with you guys about this shit. It's just facts. You know what I mean? Think about it. You know what I mean? If you're driving along, and someone, suddenly puts the turn signal, for 1 second, and they jumps in your lane, like basically puts a turn signal on as they're turning into your lane. That's pretty much what it is. You know what I mean? You have no warning that they're coming in your lane and they cut you off. You know what I mean? You're gonna tell me you'll be all right with that? You know what I mean? Come on now. And so anyway, this kind of goes back to my thing about driving, about how people don't even really pay attention. I told you guys this in other videos, how people have tunnel vision. They only look forward. They don't look to the left or right, and they don't look behind them. And like I don't know if they even know there's other people around them or if they even care. You know what I mean? And they just kind of do whatever they do. You know what I mean? And that's not the way you're supposed to drive. You know what I mean? Granted, you can drive like that, but the amount of time you're on a limited amount of time until you get into a big accident. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now, that's you're on a limited amount of time. You know what I mean? Versus a more safer way is you use your turn signal well ahead of the time before you get into the lane or whatever. You let people know. You're supposed to be like courteous. And with your driving, you're supposed to let people know. That's the whole point of a turn signal. I mean, Why would they put turn signals on the cars if you're not going to use them? You know what I mean? Now, granted, you could use the argument though. Why do cars have speedometers that go to 120 miles per hour when the speed limit's 70 on the freeway or 65? Hey, good point. You're right. That's a good point. And I mean, oftentimes when people are, crazy and aggressive on the road and cutting in and out of traffic and all that, dumbass shit, it's just better sometimes just to back off and just let them do their little dumbass shit, be dangerous and stupid or whatever, and just let them do their thing. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, like I said, you can't fix stupid. Some people just don't get it, and they're gonna get it maybe eventually, but it's just, you want to drive unsafe, that's on them. That's on them. You know what I mean? I see this shit too. You know what I mean, guys? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this with just cars. I see truck drivers doing the same thing. You know what I mean? So it's, I see all kinds of stupid shit. People following too close, cutting in and out of lanes, just, and a lot of things, like I said, it has to do with speed. People just going too fast. These truck drivers going too fast, cars going too fast, people following too close. That's a big one. And I'm gonna tell you like this, people. Whenever I tell people, I get this a lot. Whenever I tell people I drive concrete mixer trucks, they go, "Oh my god, it's so hard, it's so hard." And like I said, I used to drive the tractor trailer ones, right? But we just in the smaller ones now, the boosters. But just a truck in general is easier to drive on the freeway than a car, all right? But it's harder to drive on the streets than a car. And well, because we were driving tractor trailers before, so you got to swing wider. It's a lot, it's a little harder to drive than cars, obviously on the streets. But on the freeway, I mean, you guys got to understand, man. When you're in a truck, you can see over everything. That's the benefit of being in a truck. There's a lot of benefits to it. So you can see over everybody. You see the traffic miles down the road, or these hundreds of feet, down the road, so you can see everything. So when the traffic's slowing down well ahead, and versus when you're in your car on the freeway, you can't see shit unless you're in like one of those lifted up ass trucks or some shit. So like you can't see shit, dude. I'm telling you, like driving in my car in the fast lane on the freeway, way more dangerous than driving a truck any day on the freeway, any fucking day. Man, I can't stand being in that fast lane. You can't see shit, man. I'll be weaving in the left lane. People might think I'm drunk, but it's not because I'm drunk. It's because I'm trying to see ahead of me. Because you can't see nothing ahead of you. That's why, guys, it's so important to follow your distance with driving. I mean, I can't emphasize that enough. There's one thing you should do: just keep your distance. I know it sucks. People always get in your distance, and I know that shit sucks. It's annoying, but I'm saying like, unless you're in a fucking high ass vehicle, you can see over everybody. You're really just relying on that car in front of you. That's it. Because most of the times you can't see nothing. All you can see is the car in front of you, and that's it. You know what I mean? Especially if you have a big vehicle in front of you. You can't see shit. So your distance is everything. If that car stops, boom, you're done. You're crashing. If you're close, you're crashing. How do you think half those crashes happen? I'm not saying that's how all they happen, but I'm just saying like I see people following closer than they should. And I'm gonna end this video really quick. But that guy said something else too in that video. He said, "I can't believe there's not more accidents, or I can't believe there's not more accidents." And I say the same thing all the time when I talk to my mom, I talk to anybody about driving. I say, "Dude, I can't believe there's not more accidents. I can't believe there's not more deaths. I can't believe there's not more pedestrian deaths. I can't believe there's not more just accidents in general." Because we see some crazy shit, some dumbass shit all the time, and it's like, whoa, man. If I could count on my hand, I can't count the amount of close calls I've had. Even being a safe driver, I can't imagine the amount of close calls other people have had. I see it all the time, the close calls. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, you see some crazy shit. Like, I mean, I don't want to say like I've seen like crazy like accidents and shit, but I've just seen crazy, just stupid shit, like just dumbass shit, where you're like, what? And just like, I just can't. I can't believe there's not more accidents. I really can't believe it.